Um, Good evening, everyone. Um, uh, Welcome to the another series session of the Peace webinar series. This is the last session as we come to the conclusion of our Inner Peace to World Peace webinar series. I want to take a moment to reflect on the journey we have shared in the past few weeks together. We have explored profound connection between personal peace, global harmony, learning that true lasting change begin within each of us. In our sessions, we delved into various practices, philosophies that helped cultivate inner peace, be it through mindfulness, meditation, compassion, or simply a shift in our daily perspective, habits, food. We have seen how nurturing peace within ourselves can ripple outwards, influencing our families, communities, and ultimately the world. As each of us become a beacon of peace, we contribute to the collective consciousness that fosters understanding, tolerance, and love. One of the most inspiring takeaway from this series has been hearing from our diverse and insightful speakers. Each brought a unique perspective from different parts of the world and different industries. They have reminded us that while peace can be deeply personal journey, it is also a shared aspiration that transcends boundaries, cultures, and languages. We have learned that the path to peace isn't always easy. It requires patience, resilience, and a willingness to look inward. Yet, as we have seen, it's a journey that is worth every step. When we invest in cultivating inner peace, we become more empathetic, more understanding, and more equipped to handle the complexities of our world. We build bridges where there were only walls, and we inspire others to do the same. So, as we conclude this series, I want to encourage each of you to take the lessons, insights, and practices you have gathered here and carry them forward into your daily lives. Let's continue to find moments of stillness amidst the chaos around us, practice compassion even when it is difficult, lead with kindness in all that we do. Thank you for being part of this journey. Your engagement, questions, and reflection have enriched these discussions and helped us all power of peace from many different angles. Now, I want to introduce today's guest, Dr. Anil Maheshwari. Is a professor of management and information systems at Maharishi International University, USA, the House of Consciousness-Based Education. He earned a BTech in electrical engineering from IIT Delhi, MBA from IIM Ahmedabad, and a PhD in management from Case Western University, Ohio, MA in Vedic Science from MIU. He is a 40 years practitioner of transcendental meditation and advanced techniques as a scholar and seeker at the intersection of leadership, technology, and spirituality. He has contributed 16 books and textbooks, 50 papers, and book chapters, and made 50 conference presentations and webinars, including at Harvard University. His book on data analytics is #1 recommended book globally. His 2-volume books promotes a new paradox of conscious-based leadership from oneness to an interconnectedness. He's an elected leader of management, spirituality, and religious divisions of Academy of Management. He's a member of Marquis Who's Who in America. He brings 20 years of IT industry experience, including 9 years in leadership role in IBM. He blogs on blissful living at anilmah.com. Now I'll pass it over to Dr. Anil Maheshwari. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Anil. You are muted. I cannot hear you.
Thank you very much, Gokul, for inviting, and to Vineet for inviting me. And it's a delight to present this message. And being the last of all the speakers, I could see that they're sort of, it's almost wrapping. We're talking about world peace. We'll present a lot of evidence today about world peace. All the speakers have been fantastic. I loved last speaker, Munish Chawla, about lifestyle medicine. I love the notion there is life built into the medicine, it's lifestyle. And that's the whole idea, that we have to begin to pay attention to life, and then life becomes blissful. And that's what I blog on, that's what I live for, and sort of that's what I promote. So today I'll take about 15 minutes or so to 15, 20 minutes to present to you some evidence of what it takes to create peace, not only at the individual level, but also create coherence in collective consciousness and create peace for the world. I'll show you a lot of evidence. So I will start sharing my charts, and then we'll have some Q&A later. Okay, so are you able to see my charts, Gokul? Yeah. So this is my talk about Yoga Sutras. You all know this is the premier Vedic document. For yoga means union, sutras means formula for connecting for inner peace and for collective consciousness. This is a beautiful chart Gokul and all made. So I just thought I'll show one more time. So let's do one thing. The whole thing begins from wholeness. So those who can, please chant in your own way the wholeness mantra. It comes from Upanishads. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Translation is that the outer world is wholeness, the inner world is also wholeness. From wholeness alone comes wholeness. When you take wholeness out of wholeness, what remains is also wholeness. May there be peace in the world. So that is the idea. Wholeness has no one part level that you take out something from it, and then what remains is incomplete here, incomplete there. No. Wholeness is the idea of sort of from big bubble, you extract smaller sphere of bubbles. What remains is also a big bubble. That is a notion that comes from Upanishads. Upanishads are, are one of our big documents. Anyway, I had the good fortune this last July to visit Mount Kailash and Lake Mansarovar. This is me, and what you see in the back is the south face of Mount Kailash in Western Tibet. My wife and other people were with me. You see in the far west, same kind of peak, but in the middle is the Lake Mansarovar, the highest freshwater lake in the world. And of course, we were walking, so that you see in the sort of west face of the thing. It's quite a journey, but it is really fulfilling. So if you get a chance, please go. You'll experience deep inner peace right there. You can read about my story at my blog, anilma.com. Now, other thing is this Heartfulness. So I had to bring the Heartfulness thing here. Do you recognize this place?
Yep.
Right?
It's at the Kanha, one
It's
of
the
the
Kanavanam ashram, right?
meditation
Yeah.
hall.
Yeah, exactly. So we were there. This is our people, and there was one of the talks. I think this is not one of the one where Daji came here, but Daji also came. So we were 10,000 people. This is myself with some of our friends, and this is a composite picture our experts put together of 10,000 people, and this is the Kana Vanam ashram, and I'm somewhere in the front left, towards front. Anyway, it's just 10,000 people. So beautiful. There were young people, old people. They're from 139 countries. So a lot of people just coming together for world peace. As you can, this idea of 10,000 world peace, and with the idea, the consciousness, all there is, we enliven the consciousness and we create peace. And this is called the Maharishi effect, because Maharishi brought out this knowledge from Yoga Sutras. Now let's step back. It's all about beginning with the peace comes from knowing ourselves truly, right? So I'll take this engineering example. Gokul is an engineer, Vineet is an engineer, a lot of must be engineers, doctors, scientists. This is an engineering example, right? Now let's see, who am I? Am I the bulb, which is emitting the light, right? I'm the value driver, so people see me as a light. Or am I the light that's coming out? Am I the knowledge that I'm presenting? Or is it I'm the actually electricity behind, so the inner sort of consciousness producing the energy through the light? Or am I the wires and the magnets? I'm really something which is connecting with the totality of consciousness from where the knowledge comes to me and I present. Or am I all the laws of electromagnetism? So everything is, sort of from the generator to everything. Or am I all the laws of nature, including gravity and this and electromagnetism and other constants, Planck's constant, everything is all me, or am I all of the above? So if the idea here is what is the right answer? Whatever you decide is the right answer. That is your consciousness of how you see yourself. So to the extent you see that you are all of the above at different points in time, you are the field of everything from the smallest to the largest, from subtlest to the grossest, then you are getting into the zone of having peacefulness. So don't get stuck. Don't get stuck on any one particular definition of yourself. So there is the idea of absolute consciousness and relative consciousness, which means at some level we are absolute, the oneness, or everything is me. But then at some level we are discrete beings, right? I'm me, you are you, and we have different characteristics, different interests, and we do different things. So that both simultaneously we are. And with the relative existence is different from the absolute existence. So we can spend a lot of time understanding the states of consciousness. But let's say the first three major states of consciousness that we understand psychologically is a sleep state, dream state, and waking state. Sleep is when I'm not aware of myself. I'm not aware of any contents of my thoughts. Dream state is I'm not aware of myself, but there's something going on. Thoughts are going on. Waking state right now, I'm aware of myself, but also is muddied by the perceptions of what's going on, what's red, what's color, what am I seeing in all these charts in front of me. There is such a fourth state, transcendental consciousness. I'm only aware of myself, unsullied by the content of my experience. Once you transcend and you get to that level, then you have that pure bliss. Our nature is Satchitanand, we are pure bliss. And once you experience that, life changes. Of course, as you do it more often, then you reach higher state in which your unboundedness, the purity of consciousness is not lost, even when you're operating in the waking state like right now. So while we're talking about something, but we have unbounded consciousness also accessible to us. And then it goes up higher, you get refined, till you can reach what we call unity consciousness, Brahman consciousness, where there is really no difference between the relative and the absolute. Everything is in the terms of just the self. And on that, actually, if I can relate something, a conversation I had with Daji, right at the end of that event, we went to his house and he really received me well. And for 15 minutes, we were talking one-on-one. And he said a couple of things that stand out for me. Obviously, he's very kind, very soft-spoken, wonderful person. He said, Anil, there is no such thing. You can't measure consciousness. And there's no such thing as 7 states. There's no stopping. Keep going on like that. So, that's great. Maharishi sort of brought out 7 states for intellectually understanding. But, you just keep going. Brahmasmi is the last state, but you can keep going even there. There's no limit. You can go more and more expanded state of consciousness. So the idea is that you can keep developing yourself ad infinitum in this lifetime and on all lifetimes to come. So I have invented this thing called the we theory of transcendence. I don't know if you can see this. I have to remove this bar, I guess. So we theory of transcendence, V for Vedas, V for victory, V for us. It's also because I heard the U theory from this top professor at MIT at a conference, the Academy of Management, and I saw that we can do better than that. So V is after you. So what we say here is that normally we are living in the surface reality, right, which is the waking state, right? It's up and down. Every moment is up and down. We see differences. But if we can find a way to transcend to the absolute reality, go inwards, what we call inward stroke, and reach what we call the pure consciousness, right? The fourth state of consciousness, pure consciousness, which is pure order, all the laws of nature. Remember the earlier diagram about this electricity diagram? I'm all of the laws of nature, the relative level, the electromagnetic level, and the unified field. Then what happens is my thoughts begin to get smaller and smaller till they begin to vanish. At that level, I am just aware of myself. And I stay there for a little while and I return to the relative, outward stroke, we call it, after some time. It could be 20 minutes here, more, and it could be various techniques to get get down, and then come up. If you went in tired and confused and, with higher entropy, you might come out more clear, more energized. So that's the idea. You keep going up and down the V, and then you'll get clearer and clearer. Now you have to do every day, just like your heartfulness, clarity, your the your meditations every day. Same way you have to do something to sort of transcend often to retain your sense of togetherness. Now, this is something interesting. I was just like I was citing what Daji said. Maharishi, when he talks in Hindi, it's very different than when he mostly talks to white people in English. He says, this man, this is man. There's no real translation of man. Man can be mind, one can be intellect, one can be emotions, whatever. But this man is very clearly we understand in Hindi. But when it settles, he said, man baith jata hai. When the man settles down, baithna itself can sit down, settle down, die, whatever. But he's used the man jab baith jata, it becomes Atman. What is Atman? Is our infinity value of man. What we call Atman, the soul, or our true self is nothing but settled mind. When you settle down, it becomes the infinite value. And that is all there is to transcendence. That's what Yoga Sutra says. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. We do union by just settling down the mind. It's so simple. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't need to gurus, etc. So long as you have technique, just keep doing it. You keep working it. Now, the practical implication is when you are at the man level, you want colorful toys. You're never satisfied. You want more cars, more money, more travel, more relationship, more. But when you get down to this level, it's all joy. Toy versus joy. So that's the beauty of living in that both levels. Both levels are useful in their own ways. And then, but the one at the bottom is very peaceful. So if you transcend using this thing, it'll be again and again more peaceful. Now, I wanted to show this picture of Yoga Sutras that for transcending. In the Sutra 229, they say yoga is 8 limbs: yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dhyan, dharana, samadhi, ashtava, angani. So these are the eight limbs, but these are limbs. They are not 8 steps. Sometimes people get confused. You can use any of these steps to achieve peace. Gandhi was able to achieve peace using yama, niyama, truth, non-violence, cleanliness, all that stuff. Maharishi was able to achieve peace through dharana, dhyan, samadhi. Many people are creating some peace and well-being through just asana and pranayama, like Ramdev and other people. So use any of these limbs. It's like the 8 limbs of 8 legs of a table. You can use any to pull yourself toward oneness. So this is now what we will talk about moving forward is more the inner yoga, which is dhyan, dharana, samadhi. But so why meditation? Meditation is needed because at different stages, your development have different drivers. When you a little baby, you look for things, right? Color, the shape, that you want tactically sensory inputs. When you're a little bit older, you're doing symbolic processing. You understand this is a glass, that's a glass, this is a cup, there's a pen. The pen can come in different shapes and so on and so forth. When you're young adult, you pretty much develop language skills, very complex language skills. You develop degrees, concepts, facilitation of various conversations, etc. But really, if you want to go beyond this, and it can happen at any age, idea is you really have to learn to go inwards. The way out is in. The way out of this confusion is in. So Maharishi says higher education is for higher consciousness. And that's so true. You don't want to have the higher education to continuation high school or lower college, etc. Anyway, so that's why you have to meditate. Now, meditations can be very different. They differ just like I say, like all medications are not the same. So all meditations are not the same. In particular, like Vipassana, and we should do this with heartfulness also, what the EEG footprint is. But in Vipassana, we can see that really it works on the 5 to 8 hertz, and the 10 to 12 hertz is more sort of coherence. And transcend meditation works on lower alpha, 10 to 12 hertz, 8 to 10 hertz kind of range. So because brain kind of goes from 0 to 100 hertz, this is a higher hertz. When you have more focus and concentration, this higher, these higher frequency part will have more integration. The idea is that if you transcend, then you'll have the lower alpha thing that will have more coherence. And then we found lots of research that increased brain integration leads to increased creativity, less stress, and so on and so forth, less anxiety. Increased brain integration is a big benefit by itself. I just wanted to, there's 700 studies like this, so I just want to share one chart that when you transcend, it does way more decrease in anxiety than mindfulness. Almost on every measure that we've thought of, looked at research, TM is very, very effective. But anyway, that is not the point. You have a wonderful meditation technique. You continue doing it for your own self and for being in a good satsang to create peace for yourself and for a community. Now, I'm switching to where we move to the world peace. So this is Maharshi's long quote. The idea is the day 1/10 of the adult population in the world, 1/10 of begins to meditate a half hour in the morning, evening, that atmosphere of the world, this negative atmosphere of the world will be neutralized. And from there chance comes a chance of no war for centuries to come. Now it was 1/10 of the adult population, then it became 1% of adult population, now it's square root of 1% of the population of the world. As the techniques became more sophisticated, TM is just a starting point with advanced techniques like that, which we practice. I'll show in a moment. So that is what has happened. This is a practical basis for lasting peace. In Yoga Sutras, it says, Tat Sanido Varatyaga, where that oneness is established, hostility automatically vanishes. Think about it. When we feel that oneness, then there is no other. Hurting you is hurting myself. So the hostility vanishes. So that is the idea of this thing. So anyway, the brain-based approach is a scientifically validated approach. These are sort of volumes, the 437 volumes. Now we have ninth volume. So close to 900 studies on TM that have been published. This is just one place where it's sort of assembled, although they've been published in all over place. So more than 50 studies are just on creating on the brain-based approach to world peace, collective peace. So there's no alternative approach to peace with this kind of success. And that's why I report 3 experiments. And the fourth one was that big one that I showed you, which we did at the Kana Vanam Ashram. This is an early one. This is from like 1980s, early 80s. So this was the first study where when there was war in Lebanon, Maharshi said all the meditators there. So you see that the number of meditators went up and down because of the nature of visas and travel situation. Maharshi would have liked to have sort of certain number steady to create a powerful influence. But everything has benefits. Because you could not have all the steady one, the numbers went up and down. We also look at the composite index of quality of life. This is from newspapers published and their data in Israel and all. We found that this pretty much mirrored as the numbers went up, things went up, and as the number of meditators went down, the quality of life measures came down. So this gave very strong indication. It was statistically very significant. It was published on a journal coming out of Yale University. And then this was kind of the first study, I would say. Now, let me show you. Second study, big one. I'm talking. There are lots of studies, as I said, about 150 experiments. Washington, D.C. in summer 1993. This is the time when Bill Clinton had just been elected, but none of his cabinet was getting confirmed. And that was big for a moment of crisis. The nation was in crisis. A lot of our meditators went there. Look at this, about 4,000 of them. And they meditated for a couple of months. And you see that for the period before the meditators, when the number of meditators were low, sort of the crime rate was going on, just like you see in the, in the black, right? And then when our meditator numbers went up, right, and then during this period of pink, see the crime just dropped by 23% during those 2 months. And this was actually more like 2 weeks, right? 2 to 3 weeks. And this was so significant. And then if a group was gone, the numbers rose back to as if like it was a normal crime, crime kind of expectation. So this is the kind of graph. The dotted line is the expected graph of crime from previous years. This was the actual graph. So for the most part, it mirrored what is normally expected. And then during the meditation period of a few weeks, it really went down. So that, and then Sally Quinn from Washington Post wrote, it's almost like some magical thing is happening. We don't know what's happening. Everybody's getting confirmed. Of course, we were doing it. Now, and then you see all these things were like statistically very effective. Like, Clinton approval went up, like therefore all the things went up. All these are published studies. All the effects were sort of very significant. Psychiatric emergency calls went down. Media towards Clinton began to write more positive and sort of created the effect. So stronger national effect than local effect on individuals. So individuals didn't get affected as much here as much as the national consciousness, and therefore the importance of getting national things become the national government getting set up became high. So sometimes these things are very interesting. You notice that you get benefit this, but what is it doing even higher? Now, this is a big one, really a huge study with the um, multi years. So this is like 8 year study. This is one of the meditation domes, and the inside the meditation domes are like this. So we have mattresses like this. We sit on my mattress somewhere here in the side, and there's a women's dome, separate one. You see, Oprah came here in 2011, I think, and then they have similar kind of dome. So they meditate. And what happened was during this era where there was certain party in power, something bad things were happening in the government, and the Maharishi said, well, let's set up we need to do something about it. So he said, we need to get up a group which is the square root of 1% of US population to increase coherence in America. So that number came to 70-25, the square root of that population of America. So it took a little while to set up the numbers because numbers were going down. And Maharishi said, okay, let's boost it up. So it took about a year to get some funding to get people. And then at this point, more or less, the numbers were high. And look at what happened. So the many indicators, these are all FBI data, the crime data, etc. These all published in various top journals. So this was kind of the multi-year trend of crime, right? It was gradually going up to 3-4%. But then during those 4 years, it just began to drop, crazily drop. How else you explain? They said, we averted like 4,100 murders approximately. The p-value for this thing going down successively after this is 1 in a trillion. So it's extraordinary. And that's just one measure. If you think all the measures going on one after the other, it's extraordinary. Drug-related fatality rate. What has that got to do with the murders, right? But look at this. This was kind of normally going up, but during this period, it just went flat. In other words, it should instead of going the blue line, it became like that. So this happening itself is 10 to minus power 10, 1 in 10 minus 10, like this. Also 10 billion, 1 in 10 billion. 34.4% reduction if you look at the area under the curve here, about 26,000 fatalities aborted here. So like that, there were 6 big measures, and there are a lot of papers like that. So this was the homicide falling. This is the drug-related rate being flat. Motor vehicle fatality rate went down. In infant mortality rate went down. The violent crime rate went down. These are all independent in some ways, right? What has got motor fatality or infant mortality? So all of these, if you count, and you, of course, p-values multiply, so like 10, 1 in 10 to pi minus like close to infinite, So this is the power of the collective consciousness. Now, what happened was, because after a while the funding ran out, right? This is the number I said to 2011. Then the funding ran out and the numbers began to drop back to sort of the level around 2002, 2003. What happened to the results? You see, during this period, right, it was average, if you took all the 6 measures, it was 2%. But during the period of 4 years, it was going down, right? This was almost a 20% drop in these things. But as the numbers began to go down, now this is annual data, so you'll see graph a little less granular. But see that it stopped falling, and then it increased sharply. As the numbers drop, it increased sharply. What happens when the numbers group increases? The effect goes back as if it wasn't there. It'll pretty soon come to meet this graph from left to right. In other words, you've got to do it regularly. It's not possible to, have an effect without doing it regularly. So you get world peace. Of course, when you meditate, you get inner peace, but how can you get world from inner peace? I would say first, become deeply peaceful yourself, be established on oneness. Shivoham, Chidananda Rupa. We are the manifestation of bliss consciousness. Whatever it takes, be blissful, be Shiva. And then other thing is that Yoga Sutras provide powerful formula for removing hostilities and creating peace in the world. I showed you some 3 big studies of group practice of transcendental technique and advanced techniques helping creating coherence in collective consciousness. 150 experiments, more than 50 papers published. And we think the government and other public organizations like Heartfulness, and others should utilize these technologies to create world peace at a low cost. We have presented it to Daji. He was very much participating in it. So I'm sure there'll be some collaborations happening at some point in time. That is Vasudev Kutumbakam, the world is my family. We are just one family. And then that's a formula for peace everywhere. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present. I'll be glad to take questions.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Dr. Anil. You covered quite a bit of, and also bring full circle how the consciousness, the collective consciousness impacts the world peace, why its inner peace is essential, inside out approach, how we create that harmonious environment around us, around family, friends, and the community, and it'll have the ripple effect, the butterfly effect. So, a little bit personal question. So, how do you personally feel the days you meditate and the days you don't meditate?
How do I feel night versus day? I just came back because I knew coming here, I need to meditate long. But if I don't meditate, the day is just like, going on, basically something is happening, and it's just I'm being flowing with it. When I meditate, I feel like I'm together. The entropy is a little bit lost. I get a chance to put myself together. Not just the thoughts, but myself itself, feel like together and more grounded.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for that. And then that we have a lot of beginners also attending these sessions. So, in a simple term, how do we explain or define consciousness? So, when
Conscious, yeah,
long-term meditators, or maybe it's inert nature, so they practice, they experience. So consciously or unconsciously, they know, they feel it. But for beginners who are new to spirituality and meditation, like, how do you convey what is consciousness, how they experience it, what it
yeah,
means?
very good. It's a very long, 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 long topic. Consciousness is the hard problem of of science. The first problem is why are we here. Second is what is consciousness. So consciousness, people, what we define as a Vedic view of consciousness is the consciousness all there is. The subjectiveness, the awareness, the chitta, the chetna is all there is. It gets manifested in various aspects like us. So to the extent we remember that we are that pure consciousness, and we want to remind ourselves of that pure consciousness. When you're a little baby, right, we are just blissful naturally. We are not tied up with all the cognitive concepts and the do's and don'ts and rights and wrongs. What happens over a period of time, as we said, we acquire all these language skills and models, and we become quote unquote experts. We just tie ourselves up in string. So we need to relax ourselves a little bit. So individual consciousness has to expand. We can begin to narrow very quickly. So to the extent we do the V theory to go down and then become that one, even through 20 minutes, we just begin to feel better and better that, okay, there's a lot more to me than my, if you're very young, than a college course or my, job or my family and all that stuff. So you start with a meditation technique, and heartfulness would be just perfect. Transcendent meditation is very perfect. So it's, just whichever technique you're comfortable, you do that. But do it regularly. Like I showed you the group level. Once you remove the effect from the society, then just things goes back at the same level. You asked for your first question, what happens on the day that you don't meditate? You didn't say, oh, I meditate for the whole year. Okay, I'm done. No, you are not done. You just have to do it every day. Just like you take, I call it mental shower.
Right. Yeah, definitely. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, and it also, your goalpost is keep moving as you meditate, as you experience, as you evolve. There is more and more as your consciousness expands. Even in heartfulness meditation, Daji talks about the egregore that we have to create. That every house has to become like an ashram where you feel that peaceness, and whoever comes in contact with you or whoever is surrounded by you feels that peaceful environment, that presence. And we talk a lot about inside out. First, we have to develop internally, then we can see that outside. But currently, we are a lot more like this younger generation is more outside in, like outside distractions, social media is influencing their consciousness. So what do you recommend, or what practices you will recommend for someone who's more influenced outside in that
Yeah,
consciousness?
yeah. So absolutely. This is a burning question of the day. The youth mental health, has become a very big issue because people are so driven by uh, envy. In fact, I don't care what I have, but I must have more than the other person, and the other people are trying to show I have more than you. If you have had one dress, I have bigger dress. If you have more friends, I mean, I have even more friends. And that, unfortunately, is a game. It's a game that can't be won because there'll always be somebody more than you in terms of the relative possessions. The toys game as a no winning situation. You have to really find the inner joy. And how do you do that? This is a big question. I don't necessarily think that, to the extent kids are feeling some crisis, that's why it's a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. The reason I could come and have been this university for 12 years, I felt a crisis in my corporate jobs. I was with IBM and other places, the senior VP at company and so on and so forth. But I just felt like I was you know not happy. I was falling sick, actually. Think about it. So once you fall sick in something, then you know that you have to change. So I think when kids really go, maybe sometimes you hit bottom.
Yeah. So one thing to add to your comment is we at Heartfulness we also have a technique called Heartfulness regeneration cleaning technique that's available
Right.
online. Feel free to reach out to any trainers. They'll be more than happy to walk you through it. That's more a daily practice which helps us because we all are in the end our accumulation of our impressions that we accumulate from outside external world. So it's a regular practice to cleanse yourself so you don't accumulate any more of those impressions that's causing more inside out approach is missing. So you're disconnecting that feed, the source that's impacting your inner peace. And
Exactly.
your regular cleaning so you don't accumulate any more impressions, and you'll get to a point where you'll be able to get deeper into the meditative state as you get lesser and lesser thoughts during meditation. um, I think we are getting close to our end of our Q&A session. Do you have any final thoughts before we get into our heartfulness, relaxation, and meditation for 5-10 minutes?
Okay. I final thoughts would be that that's my last chart said, be blissful yourself. That's all there is. Don't worry about things. I was listening to a tape of J. Krishnamurti, who's a well-known philosopher from India. He said, nothing what's happening in the world should bother you. Question is how? Because you find yourself bigger and greater than what's happening in the world. You are Shiva, you are infinity. And as you do this transcendence, as you transcend whatever you have, go deeper and deeper and deeper, you just begin to see that you are all there is. Not in an egotistic way, but you begin to experience yourself in that enlarged, expanded state. And then you don't worry about things. So be blissful yourself and find ways to be in the company of blissful people. I'll just also amplify your message of uh, be so blissful that others, when they come in touch with you, they feel the bliss. I can go on that topic because I do that all the time, which is that I, if I can't bring you to the dome, I want to bring the dome to you. So I want to bring the bliss of the dome. So that is what you should aim for. Go deeper and deeper for yourself and for the rest of the world, even if you're meditating alone. And if you can do this kind of group activity, then it's even better.
Yep, thank you. Thanks for that, Dr. Anil. Now we'll get into a relaxation technique followed by a few minutes of meditation. So I'll request all of you to keep your eyes closed throughout the session. Sit comfortably in whatever posture is comfortable for you, and we'll do a peace meditation for 5-10 minutes, and we'll close the session. Sit comfortably, gently close your eyes, and relax. Feel your toes are relaxed. Feel your lower leg, knees are relaxed. Feel your upper leg, seat, hip area are relaxed. Feel your whole back relaxed. Feel your abdomen free of any tension and relaxed. Feel your chest area illuminating with source of light and relaxed. Feel your whole hand, fingers are relaxed. Feel your shoulder, neck area are melting away and relaxed. Feel your whole face relaxed and eyes are gently closed. Feel your mind free of any stress and relaxed. Bring back your attention to the source of light inside your heart. Treat all other thoughts as uninvited guests. Imagine the light is pulling your attention inwards. Let's meditate. That's all. Take a minute to observe your condition. Stay connected with your heart the rest of the night. Your housekeeping items. We have a meditate with personal trainer sessions happening free of charge this October 26, 27, 28. Please sign up at the URL. Feel free to reach out to any Heartfulness trainers or to the email address heartfulness.tx@heartfulness.org. Houston.tx@heartfulness.org. We also have a group meditation every Sunday at India House in Houston, and also in other locations in Cyprus, Katy, Pearland, Seabrooks, Sugarland, and Woodlands. Feel free to reach out to the email address. We'll be more than happy to help you set up. As we conclude the webinar, I just want to take a moment to thank all the volunteers, Houston volunteers, who spent countless hours planning and executing all these sessions. It took a village to get where we are. It was a 6-week program, started from an International Peace Day, a 3rd week of September, and then we had a regional gathering last week of September, and this was a 4-week webinar series. There's a lot of people involved in getting where we are. Let's remember, peace is not just a destination, but a journey we embark on every day. Together, we have the power to create a ripple effect that moves from inner peace to world peace. Thank you all for joining. Hopefully, we'll see you all around.